YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo. Welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. I'm going to be discussing the transit of Mars in his home sign of Aries from the 27th of June 2020 until January 6, 2021. Mars is going to stay in his home sign of Aries for 6 whole months. Mars takes 2 years to orbit the zodiac, so he's beginning a whole brand new cycle. During his long stay in Aries, he's going to retrograde on September 9th, 2020 at 28 degrees of Aries. The retrograde cycle will end at 14 degrees Aries on the 14th of November 2020. Look in your chart to see if you have any planets or points at 28 degrees of Aries and 14 degrees of Aries, because these planets are going to be activated. I'm going to discuss Mars's retrograde transit in another video. However, when Mars goes retrograde, we have to introspect the energy and not express it externally. This will be a cool down phase when things are not likely to work out in our favor. Retrograde transits tend to bring back things from the past, also people from the past. So we could have started a project a few months before the retrograde and now we have to redo it or go over it. The best thing to do when a planet is retrograding is not to initiate any brand new projects. Just keep working and correcting whatever it is that you're already working on. If your natal Mars is already retrograde, you may have a different experience with this transit because you're already used to this type of energy. I would like you to go to astro.com to get your free natal birth chart so that you may be able to follow along. After you get your natal birth chart, you have to locate your ascendant. Find the Aries house. This is where Mars is going to be transiting. I would like you to find out where your natal Mars sits and look at the aspects. If your natal Mars is well aspected, this transit might be a lot smoother for you. However, if your natal Mars is afflicted, this transit is going to be quite challenging. Astrology is amazing. What I love about astrology and knowing about transits before they happen, especially a transit like Mars, which definitely packs a punch. You want to know where this energy is happening in your chart so that you can use this energy wisely before it uses you. You cannot easily control Mars's energy, especially when it's in its home sign of Aries. He tends to be very impulsive here. So let's evaluate Mars. What type of energy is it? What house does it rule? What things does it rule in the zodiac? I'm going to advise you how you can use this energy to your advantage before it uses you. You can use Mars energy to really make a difference and accomplish a lot of your ambitions in the house that it's transiting. If you don't use this is energy that could be used against you. So the people who are going to feel this transit the most obviously are people who are Mars ruled, and that is Aries and Scorpio. If Mars is your Loi, meaning the Lord of the year in Hellenistic astrology, and simply put that Mars is ruling you for the year, your Mars is getting activated and it's going to stay active for 6 months. So there is something that you are definitely supposed to initiate in the area that is ruled by Mars in your natal horoscope. If you're born on or around the 27th of June, you are also going to feel this transit intensely because it's going to be part of your solar return chart. You're going to feel this energy for the rest of the year. So it's best that you learn and understand this energy and how you can use it. From my own experience of Mars transits, I can tell you that when Mars is transiting an angle, you are really going to feel this energy. When Mars transits the ascendant, it makes you feel charged up, full of energy. It's best to use this energy to initiate personal projects. You can use this energy wisely by expending it physically through perhaps running a marathon. You could join a gym. You could start weightlifting or an intense type of workout. If you don't use this energy, Mars conjunct the ascendant could make you prone to inflammation and head injuries. You could also become accident prone. You're going to feel like you're walking around with a target on your head because people are going to want to argue with you and start things with you. So once you're aware of this energy, you might be able to rein it in a little bit. It's very likely that you get into a lot of arguments and possibly physical fights. When Mars is transiting the IC, this is a perfect energy to move houses or start renovating your house. If you don't use this energy, it's going to use you in a negative way, in that you're going to have arguments with people at home, arguments with your mother and family. Mars on the descendant is also very powerful, and you're definitely going to feel it. You're going to feel others attacking you or others wanting to pursue you heavily, which is somewhat more positive. So you might get a lot of offers to go out on dates. But the people who you're going to attract are going to be a very aggressive type. If you're into aggressive types, you're going to appreciate this energy. But if you're not into aggressive types of partners, you're going to feel like people are coming at you. It's best to use this energy by planning ahead to have some type of activity with your partner. Or this Mars is also sexual energy, so you might be very active at this time. Mars on the MC. Mars on the MC could make you prone to fights at your workplace, or perhaps you get into arguments with your boss. The best way to use this energy on the MC is look for work. If you are unemployed at this time, Mars will make you very ambitious, and it's very likely that you will find work. So let's go over some of the things that Mars rules. Mars is our vital energy. It's our need for action, the need to compete, the need to be first. Me first. Mars in Aries is very passionate and likes to initiate. Mars in Aries is very passionate and impulsive. Mars rules things like sports, metal, guns, weapons, knives, surgeons, war, and the police. So I expect to see a lot of news on TV concerning these things. So what is your passion? What is it that you want to initiate? Everybody wants to initiate something in the area where Mars is going to be transiting. The fact that Mars rules the police, the army, war, guns and knives is a little bit concerning, because unfortunately those are the things which are going to be highlighted for the next 6 months. If you're an Aries or Scorpio rising, you're already familiar with Mars's energy. If you have a night chart, meaning you're born at night, you're going to find Mars transits positive. However, if you have a day chart, meaning you're born during the day, you might find Mars transits quite challenging. Let's look at some of the aspects he will make. As I said earlier, as soon as he enters Aries, he's going to square the eclipse point of the Cancer solar eclipse that we just had. And then he's going to square the eclipse point we had in January. He's also going to square the eclipse point we had in December 2019. This is going to bring back issues of the pandemic and the virus. This will also bring up the financial aspect of it because of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. So issues about our economy are going to come up for reevaluation. At the beginning of his transit, Mars is going to sextile Saturn in Aquarius. This is a supportive aspect. This is Mars and Saturn agreeing on the actions that you want to initiate. At some point, he's also going to sextile Venus in Gemini. With this aspect, feminine and masculine energy get along. Later on, he will conjunct Chiron. Unfortunately, this could be a painful aspect, or it could be healing with heat or fire. If you're a cardinal sign or you have cardinal placements, you're going to find this transit a bit challenging because Mars squares Capricorn, Cancer, and it opposes Libra. However, if you have placements in Gemini and Aquarius, Mars is going to sextile these placements. These are our harmonious aspects. Mars is going to trine your fire placements. So if you have placements in Leo and Sagittarius, those are going to be harmonious aspects. Now let's look at the challenging aspects. Mars is going to square Saturn at 20 degrees Aries and 20 degrees Capricorn. This transit is going to happen 3 times. It will happen on the 5th of August, 16th of October, and the 12th of December 2020. Write these dates down so that you're aware when this energy is going to happen. This transit can result in anger, aggression, frustration, resistance, protests, and blockages. Things will not go your way at this time, so you definitely have to watch your anger and your ego. It's also likely that we're going to hear actions of the police and the army prevalent in the news at this time. Mars is going to square Pluto at 22 degrees Aries and 22 degrees Capricorn. This transit will also happen 3 times. August 12th, October 7th, and December 20th, 2020. This aspect suggests extreme efforts, obsessions, a drive for dominance, a strategy for planning actions of control, and or the possibility of medical procedures. This is an extremely high-powered aspect. It could be harmful if you're too confident and daring. If you're one of those people that has a bad temper, this is the time that you're going to have to actively restrain yourself before you lose it. So avoid dangerous situations, avoid conflicts with others, and avoid the use of weapons. So as you can see, August, October, and December are going to be the months where there will be likely aggression from you or from others. If you'd like to know how this energy will affect you personally, I suggest you book a reading at rachel-mayo.com. If you're new to my channel and have not yet subscribed, please do so now. Here is why you should subscribe to my channel. I talk about intimate issues that affect us as a society and as mankind. I also review herbal medicine and herbal therapies that one can use to heal the body or boost one's immune system. I usually review products that I've used myself, so you will be getting first-hand feedback. And yes, I am an astrologer. I bring you astrology in a simple way that you can understand and use it for your everyday guidance in your life. Also remember to ring the bell icon so that you may be notified whenever I upload a new video. So let's move on to our discussion. Aries Rising or Aries Moon. This energy is going to be expressed in your first house. This is where you can use this vital energy to your advantage. You will become more ambitious and impulsive, and you're going to want to initiate a lot of things. It's a great time to initiate things that you're personally passionate about. Mars in the first house will charge you with a lot of energy. Unfortunately, it can also make you very restless and impulsive. So you have to stay active with this energy. This energy could make you prone to arguments and fights with others. Unfortunately, it also makes you accident prone, so be very careful and watch your head. Mars is known to cause injuries to the head. It's best to expend this energy through exercise. Mars also rules metal, so you could start lifting weights. This is a great way to burn a lot of calories and release this energy. And you will look great by the end of this transit. The area of blockages and resistance is going to result from Mars squaring Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in the 10th house. So the 10th house is where you're going to meet your challenges. This square will bring conflict with the way you're seen in society, perhaps at your job, or with your boss or other authority figures. So do not get into an argument with your boss at this time. If you're seeking a promotion, this is not the time to present this to your bosses because you will meet resistance at this time. If you're trying to get a new job or you're trying to advance at your job, I suggest you present your ideas before Mars goes retrograde and before this square happens. If your moon is in Aries, Mars conjunct the moon is an irritating and annoying aspect. So unfortunately, you're going to feel quite annoyed for the next 6 months. I would definitely go with the exercise or initiate a project that you can be busy working on for the next 6 months. This energy will be expressed in your 12th house. This is where you can actively use this energy to your advantage. Mars in the 12th house is more mental or spiritual. You can use this energy by traveling abroad or to far off spiritual places. Unfortunately, Mars in the 12th house tends to cause sleepless nights, insomnia, and violent dreams. So you can benefit from deep meditation. You can also choose to cut off self-defeating habits and past karmas. This is also a great time to start a workout regimen that you can do at home privately. If you have a great idea for a project, this would be a great time to initiate it, and then you can present it to the world once Mars is in your first house. So expect suppressed anger or frustrations that you've been holding on to be released at this time. The 12th house unfortunately also rules hidden enemies. So they may resurface at this time and you may have confrontations with them. The area of blockages and resistance is going to result from the square from Mars in the 12th house to the 9th house, from the square from Mars to Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. It's possible that you meet with accidents or conflicts in foreign lands. The conflict could be about your own ideals or the law. Unfortunately, if you don't get a handle of your self-sabotaging habits, you could get in trouble with the law. Don't text, drink, and drive at this time. Don't play with your freedom. Try not to travel or initiate important projects while Mars is in retrograde or while Mars is in square. Gemini Ascendant or Gemini Moon. Energy will be expressed in your 11th house. This is the area you can use this fire vital energy to your advantage. You can use this energy to form a group on the internet or some other type of group association. This is the time to arrange a lot of activities in the groups that you belong to or with your friends and elder sibling. It is also a good time to start acting on your hopes, dreams, and wishes. Mars here could bring you rewards and gains. This is the time to start actively networking. The area of resistance and blockages resulting from Mars square Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in the 8th house. If one of your hopes, dreams, and wishes was to buy a house, you might meet challenges in acquiring a mortgage. Some people could also experience complications when it comes to getting their inheritance. It's also very likely that a large unexpected bill is presented to you for payment at this time. Some people will experience complications with friendships. They may argue about things like sex, death, rebirth, and transformation, or your friends may not appreciate your views on the occult. Some friendships could bring some problems with your intimate relationships. Perhaps your lover might think you're spending too much time with your groups and your friends and not spending enough time with them. Or perhaps your partner is suspecting that you could be having an affair with your friend. The suspicions could bring arguments and separations in intimate relationships. Since you'll be experiencing this square from the 8th house, the 8th house also rules transformation through surgery. Mars rules metal and surgeons. Perhaps you'll have a problem scheduling your surgery. Perhaps you'll experience a problem in this area. If you're planning to get elective surgery this summer, make sure you get the surgery before Mars goes into retrograde, and also make sure Mars is not squaring planets in the 8th house. Cancer Ascendant or Cancer Moon. This energy is going to be expressed in your 10th house. This is the area you can use this vital fire energy to your advantage. Mars will make you ambitious and all fired up about your standing in society or about your career and the work you do for a living. You will certainly have enough energy to pursue your dreams. You can get a lot done with this energy in the 10th house, so make sure you're actively working on a project that means something to you. It's very likely that this project will get you noticed by your superiors. Unfortunately, if you're a Cancer Moon, that means Mars is going to be squaring your moon. This is a very uncomfortable transit. It's annoying, so expect to meet some resistance and challenges throughout this transit. The area of resistance and blockages is going to come from the square of Mars to Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter from your 10th house to your 7th house. Watch out for becoming too aggressive and ambitious with your bosses at work or in public. Perhaps you'll be working a lot and not spending enough time with your partnerships. This could bring conflict and arguments in this area. You could also be bringing your work problems at home. This will end up causing disagreements. If you are already experiencing problems in your marriage or partnerships, this is a time when your partner is likely to seek a divorce. It could also be that you want to get married so that you could change your standing and status in society, and you're meeting resistance from your partner who's not quite yet ready to settle down. This would definitely not be the time to push the issue. Try not to start projects or initiate arguments or conflict when Mars is retrograde or when Mars is in this square. Leo Ascendant or Leo Moon. This energy will be expressed in your 9th house. This is the area you can actively use this fiery and vital energy to your advantage. If you've been planning to go on a long distance trip, this would be the best time for you to do so, assuming you can travel during this pandemic. Or if you can't travel physically, perhaps this is the time you can travel in the mind or study other cultures on the internet. If you had conflicts with a company or a person, this is the best time for you to initiate a lawsuit. This action is supported as long as you initiate the lawsuit before Mars is retrograde and not during the square to Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. Other people could become very ambitious about completing their higher education, about initiating their studies. You can also use this energy to complete any lagging legal paperwork. For some people, this is the time when they start reevaluating their belief system. Some people could change their belief system and their ideals. Area of resistance and blockages resulting from the square from the 9th house to the 6th house. Mars square Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in the 6th house. Your plans to travel abroad could meet with conflict from the 6th house area. That is, perhaps your daily routine is in conflict with the plans. Or you may have to change your diet due to an illness. Some people could also experience legal issues with their work or their co-workers. Perhaps you have to choose between travel and work because the schedules are in conflict. Try not to initiate travel when Mars is in retrograde or when Mars is in square. Initiating a lawsuit while Mars is forward will work out to your advantage. However, if somebody initiates legal action against you when Mars is retrograde, they're going to lose. Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon. This energy will be expressed in the 8th house. This is the area where you can use this vital fiery energy. This is the area where you can use this vital fiery energy to your advantage. This is a great time to pay off your debt or file taxes. If you're looking to buy a house, this is the perfect time to try and get a mortgage. Or if you need financing for a car or some other expensive item, you can pursue that at this time. Mars has a lot of sexual energy in the 8th house. So if you're looking to spice things up with your existing partner, this will be a great time. For people who are single, this could be a great time to initiate an intimate sexual relationship. Since Mars in Aries is also transiting a house it rules in the zodiac, the 8th house, if you're planning to do some type of surgery, also be a very supportive time to do so. Mars rules the scalpel and surgeons. The area of resistance and blockages resulting from Mars square Saturn and Pluto will be from the 5th house. Some people may experience challenges in acquiring a loan to finance a creative project or to finance a trip or a summer camp with your children. You could also face challenges with your own creativity or your ability to initiate a business project. Some people could face challenges with their children or their romantic partner. Some other people could face challenges in conceiving. Others will experience deep hidden issues resurface from the 8th house, secrets that your romantic partner or your children find out about. As a result, it causes arguments. Libra ascendant or Libra moon. This energy will be expressed in your 7th house. This is the area where you can actively use this vital fiery energy to your advantage. Fortunately, Mars in the 7th house wants dominance in relationships, so it could bring up arguments in your marriage and partnerships. It's best to plan ahead. Have some type of physical activity that you can do with your partner. Mars in the 7th house is also sexually aggressive, so there's an activity for you. This energy could also be experienced as you becoming very aggressive in pursuing a partner, or you'll be attracting very aggressive type of partnerships. If you've always been the shy type that would always wait for others to hit on them first, at this time you will be picking out the partners. You're going to be the aggressive one. If your natal moon is in Libra, you're going to experience a lot of opposition from women in your life. This is an uncomfortable and irritating aspect. The area of resistance and blockages resulting from the Mars square Saturn Pluto will be from the 7th house to the 4th house. Perhaps your partner does not get along with your mother or vice versa. This is the time they're very likely to get into conflict and arguments. Or perhaps it will be you who's going to be in conflict with your mother and family. There could be dispute about real estate or living arrangements. Perhaps you'd like to move houses, but your family is not in agreement. This could cause friction and arguments. All these challenges could result in deep emotional frustration. If you're planning to move or begin projects with your partners, try to do this before Mars goes retrograde and when he's not in square with the karmic planets. Scorpio Ascendant or Scorpio Moon. This energy will be expressed in your 6th house. This is where you can actively use this vital fiery energy to your advantage. Mars here wants you to be physically active in your daily routine or with your work. This aspect can make you a workaholic. Unfortunately, if you're not expending this energy, Mars in the 6th house can cause inflammation or bring up some type of chronic illness. You could also experience arguments and conflicts in your work or with your co-workers. You must expend this fiery energy. You can begin an intensive workout program that includes weightlifting. Mars rules metal and sports, so this will be a wise way to use this energy. If you're not able to do strenuous types of exercise, you could actively start walking your dog. If you've been ill, this is a great time to initiate aggressive treatment of some sort. For people that have experienced legal issues at work or with their co-workers, this would be a great time to initiate legal action. Remember not to initiate legal action against anyone during a retrograde Mars or when it's in square. You're going to lose. Mars is very supportive and will fight for you in the 6th house under the right conditions. Area of resistance and blockages will be resulting from the square to the 3rd house, the square of Mars to Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. There could be conflict or arguments with your siblings or your neighbors at this time. Perhaps your communication style has been very aggressive lately, or your temper and ego has been getting out of hand. You could also experience challenges in learning a new skill. Some people could have problems with communication. Some people could have issues with technology, like your phone or your computer. Mars rules metal, and the 3rd house also rules how you commute. So you could also experience problems with your car, and perhaps your car will break down and make it difficult for you to get to work. This energy is going to be expressed in your 5th house. This is where you can use this vital fiery energy to your advantage. Mars is going to make you ambitious and passionate about pursuing your creative talents or in initiating creative projects. This is also a time where you could be very active with your children or a romantic partner. Most people start some sort of sports activity for fun. Perhaps you start playing tennis or basketball. Others at this time could initiate a new romantic affair. If you've been with your partner for a while and you've been wanting children, this would be a perfect time to start trying for one. The area of resistance resulting from the square to your 2nd house, Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. You could face problems in getting the funds needed for you to finance a creative project or some other type of activity that you want to do with your lover or your children. Some people could experience a conflict of values with their lover or their children, and this could result in a breakup. Perhaps your lover has an issue with how you earn your money. Try to initiate romantic relationships or your creative projects before Mars goes retrograde, and also avoid the time when he's in square. Capricorn Ascendant or Capricorn Moon. This energy is going to be expressed in your 4th house. This is where you can actively use this fiery and vital energy to your advantage. Mars here wants you to use his energy actively with your family, your mother, and your home area. Perhaps you could plan some type of activity where you're all working together as a family, perhaps cleaning the yard or a garage sale. This is also the time people decide to build a house or renovate their house. If you've been wanting to move houses, this is the perfect energy you need to do so. If this energy is not used up, unfortunately, it could result in arguments, conflicts, and disagreements with family members, perhaps even with your mother. And if your moon is in Capricorn, unfortunately, you're going to experience the challenging aspect of a square. This is an irritating aspect. So you're going to be faced with anger issues for the next 6 months. It's up to you to control your anger and your temper. The area of blockages and resistance resulting from the square from your 4th house to your 1st house with Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. You're going to start questioning what you really want for yourself. What are your true and deep desires for you and your family? Your mother and your family might be at odds with you, and this could bring conflicts and challenges. There could also be conflicts because you might want to control every aspect of your living environment or your family. If you're planning to move houses, renovate, or start a building project, it's best to initiate this before Mars goes retrograde and while Mars is not in square. Aquarius Ascendant or Aquarius Moon. This energy will be expressed in your 3rd house. This is the area where you can use this fiery and vital energy of Mars to your advantage. It's very possible that Mars brings a lot of aggressive communication via texts, emails, and telephone calls. Because you're becoming more aggressive with your communications, this could result in arguments with your siblings or your neighbors. In the 3rd house, Mars rules all aspects of communication. Cars are also ruled by Mars. It's very likely that you'll be making a lot of short distance travel, perhaps within your neighborhood. Maybe you'll start delivering food for extra money, or you'll be working for Uber, right? Make sure you're not texting and driving at the same time. Mars in the 3rd house is known to cause accidents. The area of blockages and resistance is going to result from the square to the 12th house, from the 3rd house to the 12th house, where Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are transiting. Enemies or past karma could surface at this time. This could cause communication problems or conflicts with your siblings and your neighbors. Your communication style or impulsiveness could lead you into troublesome situations where you end up losing your money or your freedom, or you could end up in arguments and fights and end up in the hospital. Don't start arguments or conflicts with your siblings or your neighbors while Mars is retrograde or while he's in square. Pisces Ascendant or Pisces Moon. This energy will be expressed in your 2nd house. This is where you can actively use this fiery and vital energy to your advantage. You are going to get fired up and ambitious about earning money and, unfortunately, spending it. Mars is very likely to earn you a lot of money. At the same time, Mars will not allow you to save this money. You will be impulsively spending it. So make sure you're buying things that are worthwhile and investing your money in things that will later on bring you profit. Unfortunately, this could also mean that you're working a lot and not spending any time with your family or your friends. The area of blockages and resistance that is going to result from the square is from the 11th house Saturn-Pluto square to Mars in your 2nd house. You could have conflicts and blockages with your friends or the groups that you belong to, or perhaps an elder sibling. Your benefactors or investors may not approve of how you're aggressively and impulsively spending money. These disagreements and disputes could result in breakups of alliances and friendships. This transiting the 2nd house is a go-getter transit. You are very likely going to make a lot of money. So now that you have this information beforehand, please be smart enough to invest your money wisely. Try not to make major purchases or investments while Mars is in retrograde motion. Also avoid the period when he's in square. If you've enjoyed this discussion, I'd appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe at this time. Also make sure to ring the bell icon so that you may be notified whenever I upload new videos. See you next time.